So here we are at the Jawara Trail. It's a cross-island trail that goes 7 clicks to Jawara. So this is the beginning of it. To get here, you have to kind of come through a neighborhood. It's not well marked, and I actually thought that I was going the wrong way until finally I saw this sign way at the end of the road. So I've been told that there are king cobras and reticulated pythons and wild boar and all kinds of cool stuff, but hoping to see that along the way, definitely. But really, I just want to like get the feel of the geology in Tioman Islands. Should be fun. This hike crosses the entirety of the island. It can be embarked from either Tekek or Jawara. I booked a hotel in the Tekek village and walked through town to reach the trailhead. There's only one route through the trail, but there's a pickup point near the end where some people get a ride back to their point of embarkation. The road crossing the island is completely treacherous, and it's strongly advised that if you do rent a motorbike, you do not attempt to cross the island on this road. In fact, some places that rent motorbikes prohibit driving anywhere outside the surrounding village roadways. Several shops hold a deposit, and if word gets back to them that you've crossed the island over this road, they'll retain this as a fee for breaking the contract with the renter. As I mentioned, it's an easy hike, but the heat, even in the higher reaches of the mountain, might get to you. Bring water and sugary snacks and you should be fine. The town has a water supply that's fed through brooks and streams, and that all starts up here. So they've got a series of old and newer pipe linings coming from the top. I'm assuming there's a waterfall source or something up there. You can hear water falling all around you as you walk through the trail. About a half an hour in, and it's a pretty gradual grade so far. It's not that hard. There's a couple of small brooks. Just throw my headband in the stream and cool down. It's a pretty nice hike. Snakes. Ancient trees with giant buttressed root systems adorn this hike. So if you're an avid nature geek, or if you just like to stand in awe of epic old-growth forests, you'll enjoy this hike. All along the hike there are these amazing views, and this is one of them. I have no way of knowing how old this tree is, but it's amazing. It's so old that its roots alone, I couldn't even hug the roots. I'm 6'4", I couldn't put my arms around that thing. And it's growing over this old rock. I mean, it's really something. The other cool thing about this trail is that it's not very buggy. There's a couple mosquitoes here and there, but really it's an incredibly rewarding hike. It's really not difficult, it's not technical, and you're in this wild expanse with these gigantic monoliths. It's a really nice trail. Of all the abundant wildlife throughout the island, you're bound to run into a few species. I happened to cross this giant black squirrel. I've yet to confirm whether or not it's an endemic species of glider, but there are definitely a few species that can be seen here. Throughout other parts of the island, and indeed along this trail, hikers have reported as many as 25 different species of snakes, including reticulated pythons, venom-spitting Malayan cobras, and king cobras. There are also long-tailed macaques, giant bats known as flying foxes, bush-tailed porcupines, and even the endangered bear cat. Besides the impending threat of poisonous snakes, there's a long list of other cautionary measures hikers should heed before trekking here. The trail itself is not marked, and it's easy to derail. Keep an eye skyward for the power line that continues throughout most of the trail. It can take as many as 5 hours to complete, depending on your speed and interest in the surrounding views, so it's best not to leave after 2 or 3 p.m. Night hikes are unadvisable, and don't attempt this trail at any time during the slippery monsoon season. So, I'm here in front of I believe it's an Alstonia. There's a couple of Astorias, but this one is an Alstonia. But the cool thing about this one is that it's been inundated with these members, with these little fingers that have crawled up and gnarled around it. And these are part of what I think is a strangler fig, and eventually what this will do. And this is a huge tree. I don't know if you can tell by the size of me in comparison to it, but it's enormous. And so these vines that have grown around it will eventually surround the entire thing and kill it from the inside, taking all of its resources. And here is a giant fire ant. I don't know if you can see that. In any case, that was a cool thing to come across. I haven't seen strangler figs in this part of the Southeast Asian region just yet, and I haven't. Looking around, I'm not seeing any more. They just develop this network of entangled vines or vine-like extensions that eventually become a tree. It's really, really just wild. Check it out. So, I found this enormous tree in what looks like a valley created by falling boulders. These boulders all around us are huge, and all the way through this whole area are these trees that have been crushed by these giant rocks coming down the mountain. It's wild. There's like an alleyway taken out. Trees this big. This one's got its own spider chandelier and a giant spider to go with it. I'm gonna leave this one alone. So along the way I found one of these, it's the base of a palm leaf, but it looks like a seed pod almost. And these things are bristly and hard. That would hurt if you stepped on one of those.
Other people that catch the animals to take some pictures of them. Yeah. But I would just want to show really how they live in nature. Yeah. And sometimes, okay, they're sitting there and you can't get any good picture of them. You get just a picture of the animal. But also sometimes you get really, really nice shots of that. A very nice lizard with spines on its back. Yeah.
In the last leg of the hike, I met up with a German photographer who, for the last 2 weeks, had been kayaking to different parts of the island and hiking in to set up camp and take pictures of the wildlife. He remarked about how hikers would walk through noisily and scare off animals as they pass. Some of the animals, however, have adapted to hide more or less in plain sight. He helped me get some footage of one critter that he was busy taking pictures of. This amazing animal, he told me, has adapted to camouflage itself from passers-by.
See if I can get this guy here. Let me yeah, so would I scare him around so to get the food?
Yeah, you want to? Yeah, I'll stay here. I'll move over a little bit.
It's a spined lizard that selects a tree or branch that's just wide enough to keep most of its body hidden, while just thin enough to allow its eyes to see around it and locate possible threats.
Yeah, it's perfect.
You can't even see it. How is doing it? But if you're on your own, it's really crazy. I hate it.
He is really, really cool looking from the side. I think the only thing that isn't perfectly camouflaged is his tail.
Yeah. Because he's sticking his tail out.
After my chat, I happened upon another strangler fig that had completely consumed its prey. So this is a perfect example of what strangler figs do after they've eaten the tree, so to speak. They'll coat the tree in a blanket or a meshwork, sort of a lattice work of veins and vines, and they'll literally strangle it. That's why they call them strangler figs. But in any case, this one has long since killed the tree on the inside, and it's left this kind of a skeleton of, you know, embracing vines as it goes up. It's really cool. Oh, looks like we made it to the end of the trail. It's really not that bad. Well, it took us a little longer. It took us about 3 hours, but that's because we were dilly-dallying along the way and caught some great footage of some amazing animals. Had a good conversation with Mike, the explorer, photographer extraordinaire. And so here we are. There's like, it's the weirdest thing I've never seen road signs for a trail, but here they are. One more new thing. So anyway, the taxi to get back to the other side of the island is supposed to be really treacherous, so we'll see how that goes.